Welcome to this explainer. Okay, we're diving straight in today to rescue you from the absolute worst villain of the modern office, tedious manual spreadsheet labor. You know the exact feeling, staring at endless rows of data until your eyes completely cross, frantically trying to keep a mental tally because, well, your boss needs a report in exactly 5 minutes. It is painful. But hey, you're exactly where you need to be.
So let me ask you this. What if Excel could just automatically count or add up values based on your specific conditions? I mean, think about your own workflow for a second. How much time do you completely waste highlighting cells, keeping a running tally in your head, or tapping away at a desk calculator just because someone asked how many times a certain department made a sale? It's frustrating, it's exhausting, and frankly, it's just completely unnecessary.
The ultimate promise of what we're tackling today is super simple. We're going to save you hours of manual work, literally. We're introducing you to 2 functional heroes that will totally change how you handle your data. By the end of this short explainer, you're going to be reclaiming your valuable time by letting Excel act as your own personal, hyper-efficient robotic assistant. It's going to do all the heavy lifting for you.
All right, let's jump right into it. Meet our first hero, the COUNTIF function. It does exactly what it sounds like. It counts cells, but only if they match a specific condition. And the syntax? Beautifully simple. You type equals COUNTIF, open a parenthesis, and give it 2 pieces of information. The range, which is just where you want Excel to look, and the criteria, which is exactly what it's looking for. It is absolutely perfect for everyday tasks, like, say, counting how many departments are listed, tallying up specific status values, like pending or complete, or even tracking down repeated records in a massive database.
Let's make this totally concrete. Imagine a really typical raw data set, just a simple list of various company departments lined up in a single column. So we've got finance, HR, finance again, IT, and finance one more time. Now sure, in a tiny list of 5 items, you could obviously just use your eyes to count them. But imagine this list is 5,000 rows long. Yeah, you definitely do not want to scroll through all of that, counting every single instance of the word finance.
And this right here is where our hero steps in to save the day. We write our formula exactly like this, equals COUNTF, open parenthesis, A1 colon A5. That's our range, right? The block of cells we're focusing on. Then we throw in a comma, and in quotation marks we type our criteria, the word finance. We are literally explicitly telling Excel, hey, look at cells A1 through A5 and tell me exactly how many times the word finance appears.
You hit enter, and boom, 3. Excel instantly and perfectly counts exactly how many times finance popped up in our list. No manual counting means absolutely 0 room for human error. You just get the precise answer delivered in a fraction of a second. That is the raw power of conditional counting right at your fingertips.
Okay, now let's level up. Enter our second hero, SUMIF. Now, while counting just counts the cells, SUMIF actually adds the numerical values inside them based on your conditions. The setup builds right on what we just learned. You have your range and criteria, but then you add this really powerful third piece, the sum range. You're basically telling Excel where to look for the match and, well, where to grab the money. This makes the function perfect for deeper analysis, calculating total department expenses, analyzing regional sales, or tracking branch performance.
Let's look at a slightly more complex dataset to see this in action. We've expanded that previous table. So now, we don't just have department names, we actually have their corresponding sales figures sitting right next to them. We see finance brought in 5,000, HR brought in 3,000, another finance record for 7,000, and IT brought in 4,000. Our goal here isn't to know how many sales finance made, but rather how much actual revenue they generated in total.
So the crucial trick here is how we set up the formula to pull that specific numerical data. Here's exactly how you write it. Equals SUMIF. First, we outline our criteria range, A1 to A4. That is our list of departments. Next is our condition, which is finance in quotes. And finally, the sum range, B1 to B4, which holds our actual sales numbers. We're essentially giving our robotic assistant a crystal clear instruction. We're saying, Excel, look at column A. Every single time you see finance, jump over to the exact same row in column B, grab that sales number, and add it to a running total. And when you press enter, 12,000. Man, it is a highly satisfying result, isn't it? The function automatically zeroes in on the finance rows, grabs the 5,000 from the first row, completely ignores HR, grabs the 7,000 from the third row, ignores IT, and perfectly adds them together. It does this flawlessly, whether you have 4 rows of data or 40,000 rows.
Let's put these 2 side by side so we really lock in the difference in your mind. Think of COUNTIF as answering how many, like how many departments are there? SUMIF, on the flip side, answers how much, like what are the total department sales? Grasping this distinct tactical difference? That's the ultimate key to mastering basic conditional logic.
So how does this translate to real-world applications? Why does this actually matter for you? Well, these functions are literally the absolute backbone of standard office and banking reporting. If you work in a bank, you might use COUNTIF to tally up approved loans for the month, or SUMIF to total up your branch deposits. Over in marketing, you could count active campaign clicks. In HR, you could sum up department training expenses. Anywhere you have raw data that needs summarizing, these two functions are going to be your absolute best friends.
Now, I really want to challenge you. Don't just sit back and watch. Try this yourself today. Here's a quick practice scenario for your very next spreadsheet session. Try to write a COUNTIF formula to count your HR employees. Then, try setting up a SUMIF dataset to sum up your IT expenses. And finally, try counting completed tasks on your weekly project tracker. Taking these 3 simple steps on your own datasets will immediately cement this knowledge right into your muscle memory.
Let's quickly review what we've conquered today. You have officially mastered COUNTIF for finding out how many and SUMIF for calculating how much. You've crushed the fundamentals of conditional calculations, and we've walked through real-life examples you can apply literally today. You should be incredibly proud. You just added 2 major time-saving superpowers to your professional toolkit.
But before we wrap up, I want to leave you with this final, kind of provocative thought. You've mastered conditional logic for summarizing data, sure, but what happens when you don't want a summary? What happens when you need Excel to hunt down and pull one single specific record out of a massive, messy database? How do you instantly find that one needle in the haystack? Well, that is exactly what we're going to tackle next time when we explore the legendary VLOOKUP. Until then,
thanks for listening, dropping by, getting high.